I spat in the bathtub because I wanted to see what exactly was that.
Spitting, yes.
And what do I see? Blood. I became so scared because I didn't know what exactly it was, and I didn't know where it was coming from. Then I knocked Aunt Esther's room. She opened, and that's when I stopped. I couldn't say anything. I just told Aunt Esther, have a look. Because of the shock, I just blacked out. But then Aunt Esther tells me that immediately he got my phone, he called him. At first he didn't answer, then again she tried and he answered. And when he answered, he told her that he's far, that Esther should call one of my brothers to come. And then Esther said, but you need to call him yourself because right now there is not enough airtime. The only little airtime I've used to call you. And he did not. So until...
He did not bother to call?
He did not. He just said he was far.
What
Yes.
time was that?
When I threw up that blood, it was around 3:45 a.m.
Oh, okay.
So we couldn't open the door to run to the shops to get the airtime. So it's until 5 that, around 5:40 that Aunt Esther had to open the door, run, knock the shopkeepers to get airtime, and were able to call one of my brothers.
And all this time you had still blacked out?
Yes.
Until 5?
Yes. And then Aunt Esther called one of my brothers who came, though he was also far, but he managed to rush and come. Then they rushed me to Kampala Hospital, to AAR of Kololo. From that time, we reached the hospital. Yes, my eyes were open. I could see, but I couldn't talk. But I was listening to everything people were saying. One thing I remember is I saw Aunt Esther crying, and my brother was also crying. And Aunt Esther was telling him not to cry. He was also telling Aunt Esther to be strong, not to cry, but they were all crying at the same time. They rushed me in, they took me, they did the examinations, and they said, no, we cannot handle her. This is a serious case. Rush her to International Hospital. When we reached there, they checked and they said, no, she needs an X-ray immediately. She needs to go for X-ray. So they put me in an ambulance, rushed me to imaging center, where we did the first X-ray, which showed us a crack in my chest.
And all this time you didn't have any pain in the chest?
I had, but I thought it was minor.
Okay.
I didn't know I had actually a crack. And blood was dripping from this crack into the lungs.
Oh, God.
And part of it had already clotted, actually, because it was now 4 weeks since he had beaten me. So from the imaging center, I was rushed back to IHK, where the first surgery was done. And they had to fix a date because they couldn't do it just like that. I needed to first heal a bit as they keep me on medication to reduce the blood from dripping. So on the 28th, I think 28th, 29th of November is when the surgery was done to remove the blood clots from the lungs, and also to try and see if they could try and cover the crack. But it was very difficult.
I know that it's difficult.
I just had to lie. The doctors recommended I sleep on a hard surface, and actually they said a hard floor would be better. And I had to
You started sleeping on the floor?
Start sleeping on the floor for 8 months. That was from November, around the 30th of November 2011, up to July 2012. But all that time the pain was increasing slowly. Even when I took the painkillers and the antibiotics, I wasn't seeing really much change. But now, plus the psychological pain, the physical, emotional, I mixed so many things. And it was after undergoing the first surgery that I got a bit okay. Then I traveled to Gulu where I was working. I wanted to really know exactly what was going on because I had my things in his house the other side.
You traveled to his home?
Yes, I traveled to Gulu. I have a cousin who was at the university there in Gulu. So I went and lived with her for like a day or two. Then when we tried meeting, he was hiding. And then I went to the police in Gulu. I had my file, which had my medical form and the LC letter plus the police letter. When they called him at police, he deceived the police that he was in the field. Then the DPC asked me that, do you know which organization he works for? After calling him 3 times when he's saying he's in the field. Then one of the policemen who knew him said, but I've just seen Genesis crossing the streets down here. So the DPC asks me if I knew where I was working. I said yes. He gave me 2 police officers to escort me to his workplace and get him. So when we reached his office, we signed in the visitors book, got in, and I asked them that I wanted to see his boss, who was the program's director. I greeted him and just put the file before him. I told him, this is the reason I'm here. When he read, he could not believe it. When he looked through my file, he could not believe it. He said, how come he has done such a thing and yet he's a project manager managing over 12 partners, and this is a project that denounces domestic violence.
Imagine.
Yes, how could he have done such a thing to you? And then one of the policemen said, but he told us he's not around. He told us, is it true you sent him to the field? His boss said, no, I've not assigned him to go to the field today. He's around. Then they called him. Within 1 minute, he was already at the office. The boss drives us to Gulu Central Police Station. And when he was asked, he did not deny. He said he accepted that, yes, he had beaten me. But he was thinking of us calling our parents, sitting together to talk it over. Then I told the DPC, this is about my health.
A month, right?
This was now this was now the 3rd month.
He was still thinking of calling the parents?
Yes, so that we could talk it over. Then I told the DPC, I'm in a lot of pain. So from that day, they now got to my side and started saying, no, we didn't know it was this much.
Oh, okay.
So at the police, he writes an agreement claiming he would take care of the bills, he would do everything, which copy I have, the DPC has, and he has one. And the DPC told him, Harriet needs treatment. She has already undergone 1 surgery, and the doctors are saying if she doesn't get well in 3 or 4 months, she will have to undergo another one. So she needs to go back to Kampala for treatment. But how is she going to go? And I requested the DPC. I told him, yes, my going back to Kampala is there, but I want to go with all my things, all my property that is in his house. So he told the DPC, she's not taking anything from the house here. And the DPC asked why.
What things were there in the house?
My clothes, some of my documents because I was there in Gulu doing work for one of the NGOs there for almost 4 years. So I knew I had a home there, and in Kampala I had a home.
Oh, so of course you had some good
Yes,
stuff there.
and I'd already taken him home, like it's done in Bantu culture, to my paternal aunt. He had already visited. We're actually
Kuchala.
planning, yeah, Kuchala. We're planning now the main introduction when he beat me, because the Kuchala was on the 17th of January 2010. Yes. And after that Kuchala is when now I looked for this the house and moved away, moved out of home, and now started living alone so that he could feel free coming in,
Yes.
and also me going the other side. But he told the DPC I wouldn't pick anything. But I'd already known that he had actually 3 other ladies in Gulu. He was renting for 2 and he was paying tuition for 1 at NTC Onyama, which
But
is...
he wasn't staying with them.
He was staying with 1.
That's why he didn't want you to go.
Actually, yeah, after he beat me, he went back and now brought 1 and started staying with her, and even shifted away from where I knew into another place that I didn't know, into another house. So it's one of his close friends. And actually, I know him as his cousin because I got them living together when we started the relationship. So he's the one who told me, "But Harriet, are you okay with Genesis still?" I didn't want to really say everything to him. I told him we are okay, only that there is something that is not going on well. Maybe when we meet face to face, I'll let you know. And he told me, "But how come we are seeing him with another lady, and he has moved away from where you people used to live? He's now into another home, another house with another lady, and they're living together."
Hey.
So I got shocked, but because I was in pain, he had, you know, that was now from September up to around October. And then I told him it's okay, I'm still undergoing treatment, but when I feel a bit better, I'll travel over to Gulu. And that's what I did, though I couldn't carry a weight.
That was a bad move. He wouldn't have told you at the state you were in. By
No, he didn't know.
Oh.
When he beat me, actually, I think only 1 aunt of his knew, and she thought it was minor. So the rest of his relatives and friends, they didn't know. Not until I traveled to Gulu that they got to know about it.
Did you manage to get your things? From
Yes, I requested the DPC to help me, give me 2 policemen, or 1 to escort me so that I could go and pick my things, because I had a chest problem already. I had the pain. I didn't want to go to be taken to the new place alone, because the lady didn't know me, and maybe they would team up again and beat me together. Because of my health, I requested for security. When we went, before we even reached, the lady calls me. His new girlfriend, that lady he was staying with, calls me and tells me, "I'm the wife of Genesis right now. I'm calling you, warning you not to step in my house." I told her it's okay. I was shocked that she even had my number.